the Sermon on the Mount, or the Key to Christianity. An interpretation by Pekka Ervast. 9. The Fifth Commandment. Matt. 5:43. Ye have heard that it was said, Thou shalt love thy neighbour, and hate thine enemy. 44. But I say unto you, love your enemies, and pray for them that persecute you. 45. That ye may become sons of your Father which is in heaven, for he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sendeth rain on the just and the unjust. 46. For if ye love them that love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the publicans the same? 47. And if ye show friendliness to your brethren only, what do ye more than others? Do not even the common people the same? 48. Ye thus will become perfect, as your heavenly Father is perfect. This fifth commandment seems to me the commandment of love par preference. But does not Jesus go into extremes in advising us to love our enemies? If anybody is hating me and doing me no end of harm, damage, and evil, how can I love him? That would be the very height of hypocrisy. Jesus said, Pray for them that persecute you. That we at least are able to do if we cannot yet love. But Jesus said expressly, Love your enemies. Yes, but he says so in opposition to the old commandment, Love thy neighbour, adding for clearness' sake, and hate thine enemy. Why adding? Because, you see, there is no such old commandment as hate thine enemy. Isn't there really? Not literally. But the spirit of the old commandment is truthfully enough expressed by the words Jesus added. Now I do not understand. You will see it directly. In adding the words hate thine enemy, Jesus emphasized the meaning of the old rule cited by him, love thy neighbor, in order to be able to show how wrong it was in the light of his new commandment. Evidently his new commandment, love thine enemies, does not include an invitation to hate one's neighbors, but just as the first commandment, be not angry, excludes killing, so this fifth commandment, love thine enemies, presupposes that instead of hating our neighbors we love them. The question turns round the two words, neighbors and enemies. Who are our neighbors? Who are our enemies? The answer to these questions is plain enough. Neighbor means belonging to the same tribe or nation, or inhabiting the same country, a countryman, while enemy, on the other hand, means belonging to a different tribe or nation, or inhabiting a foreign country, a foreigner. Think of the Jewish history of the old dispensation. Think of the thundering Jehovah ever angry with foreign nations, ever inciting his own chosen people to war, now with the Philistines, now with the Midianites, now with some other enemies. Love of strangers was entirely out of the question. There was no talk but of hate and of vengeance. Only neighbors and countrymen could be loved. In view of this, the words added by Jesus were very appropriate, descriptive and explanatory of things. In his new commandment, Jesus stood up in opposition to this old world order. This new commandment is thus qualified by its international or political tendency. Exactly. According to the teaching of Jesus, they who desire to live the life of the kingdom of heaven do not see a stranger in any man. All men are brothers without distinction of race, color, or nationality, and all men are to be loved. The borders between the nations fall down and all nations form one big family, the humanity of the planet tell us. Expressing tersely what Jesus taught in his fifth commandment, we should say that he forbids war. With reference to this commandment, as well as to the others, we are, however, bound to point out that there is no actual political purpose involved. It does not say, "Now, all people, lay down your arms." It says, "Now, all men individually, get enlightened, become Christians, follow me." A nation is Christian if the members of that nation are Christian. A nation can follow Jesus in its daily life if its members do so. The individual man must realize that war is contrary to the philosophy of Jesus, contrary to conscience and the highest ethical conception, contrary to the divine order of life. The individual man must abandon arms, abstain from war, forsake all violence. So you think Jesus despised soldiers? Nothing of the kind would occur to me. It would not be like him to despise any man. Jesus was sure to know as well as we do today, that amongst military men are to be found some of the most chivalrous, honest, and beautiful characters. They are men like all else, and often better men. Of that there is no doubt. The point at issue is merely that individual men should awaken, officers and soldiers as well as other men. And in accepting the new philosophy of life one should be entirely sincere. There ought to be no artificiality, no hesitation. Truth makes man free. Seeing the truth, man will be full of joy, elation, bliss. The life of the kingdom of heaven will perhaps cause external difficulties, but it will surely bring inner peace and happiness. The fifth commandment, like the preceding ones, concerns individual men and their work. When more and more people, in different places, begin following Christ and spreading the light, then at last will come the time for the nations to be Christianized. Have we not already taken a big step forward? During the World War there were thousands of men in different countries who refused to bear the sword because they wanted to walk in the footsteps of Christ. And now, after the World War, there are peace movements in all countries trying to teach people how insane all warfare is. And although the following of Christ is a matter for individual men, it is not out of the way to think of a league of Christian nations pledging themselves to settle mutual conflicts peaceably, and to abstain from declaring war one against another. Is it too fantastic to suppose the international intelligence to be so far enlightened? Let us hope not. But I notice that, in verse 47 you have changed the word pagans into common people. Yes, the Greek word ethnikoi and the Latin ethnici do not mean pagans. They mean men of the common people, and by that word Jesus designated those who did not know of the good tidings of the kingdom, being everyday men of a worldly turn of mind. I suppose the translators had that in mind, although the word pagans at present carries quite another meaning, reminding the reader of African Negroes, Australian Aborigines, etc., and leaving him under the impression that he himself is a Christian by birth, the truth, of course, being that we all belong to the ethnikoi or common people, until we really become Christians, inasmuch as following Jesus is no matter of geography. In the last verse you use the future tense, you will be perfect, instead of the old imperative form, be ye perfect. Eicest in the Greek text is a future form, although, in most languages, it has an imperative significance besides. The Latin text has estate, may ye be. However, it seems to me Jesus had in mind a direct statement, living the life of the heavenly kingdom in fulfillment of his commandments we shall eventually become perfect, as our heavenly Father is perfect. I see in it a promise or a prophecy rather than a commandment. At the same time it refers to all the commandments, crowning them, so to say, with the glory of attainment.